Question 1376. Do you love or loathe snow? Why?
Love it.
I'm going to say on the spectrum, it's closer to loathe.
Jenny?
It's not something you can just love or hate. There's many situations, just like the Inuit have so many different words to describe snow. It's because snow is so different. The relationship you have with it is so different from moment to moment. Sometimes it's a horrible pain in the ass, and sometimes it's one of the most lovely, fun things you can ever experience. So it's really
Well, this is why it's a complicated thing that you've got to sum up with a one-word answer.
That's right. So this really just shows the limit of your questioning.
Yes.
Well, really, Dave, I would say that where I used to live, I hated snow because there was so much of it. But now where I live, we only randomly get it. We usually get it at the most like 3 times a month in the winter, and it's no more than 4 to 6 inches at the most. So the worst I have to do is start up my vehicle early and let it defrost. But where I used to live, I hated it because it was so deep all the time. Now I love it.
And it's a perfect day to be asking that question because we're supposed to get anywhere between 3 to 10 inches today.
I'm supposed to get sunshine all day.
Right, Wild Eden says, love it. Lone Wanderer says, I love snow because I never see it on the regular. Donna says, I love snow. Sandy says, depends on what the snow is. There are many types of snow. No. Ox says, snow is the white blanket of cold death. I don't think he likes it. The only good snow is it comes in a cone when flavoured with syrup. Jeff?
I enjoyed it more when I was a kid because it meant you'd probably have the day off of school.
It doesn't mean that to kids anymore. They're not nearly enjoying snow days as much.
No, it's
Chad says, I love snow. I miss having it often. Had a lot more of it growing up. Now the grass is green all winter with only a few storms. No childhood is complete without digging a snow fort. Never had enough snow for a snow fort. DOG says, love it. Grew up in inner city Liverpool and my area was a shithole. Snow made it look pretty. We don't get snow here. Almost never do we get snow here. We have to go up to the Horseshoe Pass if we wanted to do anything.
I think because where I am, we very, very rarely get it. When we do get a decent amount of snowfall, it really causes chaos because we're never prepared for it.
What year were you born?
Me?
Yeah.
78.
See, the climate had already started changing by then. We noticed it between the winters we had in the 50s and the winters we had in the 70s already. Things are not the same. The things have changed. And if you look at, if you go back and look at some of the, I forget what they call it. It's not, what's the word for the checking bumps on your head?
Phrenology.
The word is really close, but it's the study of environmental changes, seasonally, and people have been recording this stuff for hundreds of years. That they saw their first robin on such and such date, or saw the first thing, and it's been clear since the 70s that it's changed. So you just never had the benefit. It probably snowed a lot more there before you were born.
That's actually, Jenny, I agree with that. When I was 6 years old, we got like 4 foot of snow overnight, and it had like an icy coating on it.
Mm-hmm.
And my brothers dug a tunnel underneath of the ice and made like a maze. And I remember they told me that if I stood up and broke the ice, that I was out of the game, and I didn't want to be out of the game because I followed them everywhere and wanted to do whatever they were doing. So I was in there crying because I couldn't get my way out of the maze. Yep. 6 years old, crying in an ice maze. on my hands and knees.
What's that film with that guy on a train with a hammer?
What?
Old Boy. That's it. That's you, Dave.
Uh-huh.
What?
Never heard of that.
Anyway, snow is the best thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
The best thing.
I like it. I like it both physically and philosophically.
How do you like it philosophically?
Well, let me explain physically first. Physically, snow is just excellent. You know, it's cold and it's fluffy, and if you compact it, it's slippy. And then you can make it into things, and it makes everything all black and white and pretty. Because anything that when you go out and it's snowing, but it's also bright, anything that's not the white of the snow by contrast just looks black. So it makes everything look all snazzy. And I like it philosophically because it brings a lot of Western societies to a grinding halt, and I really like that. I think people rush around too much and need to be forced to slow down.
Snow does that. Well, not used to it. Tobin says, in my region, snow's not an issue, which means you don't have an opinion. Brainbug says, I dislike snow. It's super gross fucking ice and cold too. Never Again says, my back hates moving snow, but my soul loves being snowed in. Why do people move snow? Never understood that one. Why do people shovel driveways?
So they're usable?
Some people occasionally need to leave home. Weirdos.
Because when you get on the average of 60 inches of snow a year, you got to do something, or you're not going to be getting around to the grocery store or anything.
Get a 4x4.
That means you'd have to clear. That means you'd have to clear the driveway of snow below before you went up and got a 4x4.
All right, let's move to Upper Michigan, where you get 12 feet of snow a year.
Yep, Traverse is nasty in the winter. I've been there.
Yeah, you got to do something with it. It's just you can't just let it sit there. These white guys.
9 o'clock hero says snow was great when you didn't have to clear it or trudge to work in it. So I enjoyed going to work in it. Again, I have a 4x4, so that kind of cheats, but it's great fun. Only time I ever actually get to use my 4x4 as a 4x4.
You know what I love about snow the most, honestly, when it's a really like thick snow and it shuts down everything and it's deep.
Absolutely.
It's so quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so quiet. It dampens all the sound. Everything looks clean. Everything looks pretty and sparkly. And so it's like Mother Nature decorated for us.
I love what it does to the sound. I think it's just so cool that stillness.
Absolutely.
And if you ever get up early in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock before the sun doesn't up till 7. But get up at 5 or 6 after a snowfall and go outside. It's deafening. It's so quiet.
I enjoyed. There was a winter we played Ingress when it snowed for several weeks, and it was the nicest time to play. You end up in all these weird places where it's blanketed in white, and it was just brilliant. Ox says, depends on periods. During periods of exceptionally cold weather, badgers will often use a latrine inside the set rather than venturing outside. Do you piss in the corner, Badger?
What do you think a latrine is, Dave? It's not just a corner.
No, that's
it's a
pretty
hole.
much.
It's a hole in the corner.
Oh,
it doesn't go
there's
anywhere.
a hole. That makes it
Just piss in the corner, you uncultured swine. Dig a hole first.
You do realise you're calling all the people with flushing toilets uncultured here, Badger.
Flushing? What is this? Water running through shit.
Chad says snow melts and refreezes to ice. It's about
dig a
safety.
hole,
getting in that
poo in it,
what?
and then you bury it again.
As opposed to using it.
Fertilizer. Fertilizer.
And your house smells so nice when you do that.
Yeah. You bury shit all over your house.
That's how you tell which badgers live where.
It's it helps him because he doesn't really like visitors, so that helps.
Exactly. Also gives me ammunition for when I go to visit Disney.
Manda.
I love it. I grew up in it.
You grew up in it?
Yeah. New
Do you like it?
England. Yeah.
New England gets lots of snow. Yeah.
Does it? See, the problem is I always imagine her as living in Georgia and that the sun never stops shining.
Mm-hmm. We got snow here a couple of years ago, like an inch. That's my head.
Well, you've got the tough genes. People who grew up in New England understand snow and are generally pretty tough people.
Yeah. Blizzards, kind of stuff.
I've only ever been in a blizzard once. I was driving. That was great fun. Never again. Never again says, I'm too good to leave the dome with a pile of snow on my car when I know the main roads are clear. I don't want to dump ice on the main roads. Why? It just smashes and goes away.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it refreezes and turns into ice. And it gets very slick. And then you
See, what we
slide
have
right
is
off
we have these things called gritters that go around multiple times a day to make sure the roads are clear.
Oh, is that like a snow plow?
Oh dear.
Except when it snows.
Except when it snows, they don't work. Thank you very much, Dog, for your £5.
Oh, I've been given a shout out in one of Hops's beer reviews articles.
Have you?
Yeah.
Can I have £5?
I don't know why I didn't drink this stuff.
I was in Minneapolis once for a weekend hanging out with some friends, and there was a kind of surprise snowstorm. It was fairly early in the year, early December. They get snow. We get snow around here in December, but usually not that much at the beginning. But this one was like a 12-incher, and it came all of a sudden, dumped its ass over the span of one afternoon. And
what porn was this?
Pardon?
What porn was this?
This was in Minneapolis.
Sounds like good porn.
And that's significant because it's a part of the country that is used to snow, has the equipment to deal with it, has the experience to deal with it. But this came so fast, so hard, before everybody was ready for winter. It just paralyzed the city. And so this shit and snow came down, and people were at work and school and blah blah blah, had to drive home, and they started making ruts and shit in the snow that was plowing the street. And then the backside of the storm came, where it dropped down to about 10 degrees. And all that shit on the snow on the streets froze. And the entire city of Minneapolis for like a week and a half was stuck with, you could only drive in the ruts. And if you had a small car that was low, forget it. Just park
screwed.
Don't even try. It was so you can't just leave snow there.
Of course you can. It just goes away. The problem is we get so little snow here. Seraphim says, I love how snow looks like glitter. Never Again says, snow sparkles are the best sparkles. And then Seraphim says, the roof of the shithole I live in probably won't survive snow. Then Jeff says Disney is canon.
That's why you should live underground. Fuck yourself, Jeff.
Never Again says, oh, it snows in GA. I was in Georgia Tech in 77 and it shut the city down. Ox says, I live in upstate New York. Used to get 3 feet overnight. See, 3 foot of... I've never seen 3 foot of snow.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a meter deep.
Dave, this is why I was saying yes. This is another reason why I think living in New York would be shit. This goes back to yesterday.
Just enough snow to make sure all the silly humans stay inside is fine.
Seraphim says, last time it snowed in Georgia, people were convinced it was fake snow. Dog says,
the government created snow. It's a conspiracy theory.
It's the damn
bring Trump down.
Democrats did this.
Dog says snow gives the British transport operators genuine excuse to their usual shit service and why their timetables are a waste of paper.
They're going to defend Blighty's transport systems for a bit because I've travelled on the SNCF in France and they are fucking way worse.
That doesn't necessarily mean that ours are good.
Doesn't mean ours are good. It's just that, relatively speaking, there are worse ones.
Granny says, when I grew up, it never snowed in July or August. I've seen snow all the rest of the year. See, we had a really weird year a couple of years ago where we had snow at the start and the end.
The latest I've seen snow is June, and the earliest has been September. So that's July, August. July, August.
I haven't seen snow in about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
But then
we've never had a tornado.
We've never had a tornado in February either.
We had some about a week and a half ago, but it's not exactly. I mean, it snowed. We didn't have snow. The ground wasn't at the right temperature for it to lay. So.
Well, they shut down Merseyrail because of the blizzard.
Have any of you been through thunder snow?
Yes, I think I have. I think I was driving.
Yes.
It's such a massive storm that it's thunder and lightning while it snows. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, I don't know. Right. I think we should do the next question. People like snow a lot.
Dave. Dave.
Yeah, I love snow.
Why?
I don't get any. I want thick snow that everything. I want it to snow enough that I'm the only person that can drive.
Why are you the only person that can drive?
Because I'm the only person with a 4x4. I mean, that's not the only person with a 4x4, but you know.
Everybody else down there, everybody else has Priuses.
Have you seen some of the mothers who pick their kids up from school, David?
To be fair, but they don't tend to have real 4x4s.
Did you just call him David?
Yes.
Weird.
I'll make him
I've got
suffer.
some of those clip-on snowshoes
I'm being
for
formal.
just in case we get 2012.
Just having a 4x4 isn't the answer either. You have to know how to drive them in the winter. It's a whole different skill set.
Yeah, I've managed to slide my 4x4, which is quite impressive.
I challenge you to come spend a winter in Minnesota.
Yeah, you'll slide around every corner. Jenny, when we were growing up, one of the things we had to do before we were allowed to get our driver's license, our mom would take us up to this department store. It had this huge parking lot with no curbs in it, and like the random light pole every few aisles or whatever. And she'd take us up there and at night in more than a foot of snow and tell us, okay, go faster. Okay, hit the brakes and control it. And that's how we got used to the driving in the snow. She would not let us drive on the roads until we did that.
Your mom was a smart.
I would say
Your mom was a smart person.
Oh yeah, she was great, man. Like we had to have practice. She didn't let us just get on the road and try it because it was northern West Virginia. It was pretty nasty in the winter. My
actual driving school happened during the winter in snowstorms. So I actually learned how to drive from day one in this active snow.
Yeah, well, they did that. Yeah, we had to drive in the snow and driver's ed in high school too. Yeah, and it had to be a standard vehicle. Couldn't be an automatic, and there was a bunch of hills, and they would make us stop on the hills in the snow. Yeah, just slide down.
Yeah, a manual transmission is the most effective thing you can have in the snow.
Yeah, you get the most control. Absolutely.
Right, next question.
And a proper operating handbrake so you can do handbrake turns.
No.
I've been caught out when it started snowing once on a motorcycle. That was not fun.
I'm sure it's no. I don't know. I've never ridden a motorcycle, so. Well, not that I can remember. If you enjoyed that, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. If you think you've got a better answer or just want to tell us how wrong we are, leave a comment down below. Subscribe down here for new questions every day and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on our live shows. If you click over here, you'll see our latest upload. Over here, for what YouTube thinks you'll love the most. And finally, for a complete playlist of all our currently released questions, click here.